Today, DiCaprio's not on a boat, he's on our sketchbook. We're breaking down his head with the Loomis method. Let's roll. All right, let's start with the circle. But hey, this isn't just some random circle floating around. We're placing it carefully. It starts right at the top of the skull, not the hairline, the actual bone. And it drops down to about the upper jaw just before the chin begins. Think of it like the helmet of the head. So instead of doodling a meaningless circle, you're already mapping out the real boundaries of the skull. And if you compare it with the reference, you'll see exactly what I mean. And hey, quick pause here. If you want to go deeper into this, with full explanations, every single step of the Loomis method from zero to drawing heads in any angle, I've just released the complete Loomis course. It's a full structured program, updated regularly, and it'll pop up right here on screen. Or you can grab it from the link down in the description. And right now it's available at a special price, so don't miss it. Now let's cut into the ball. I start by placing a mark roughly at the end of the eyebrow. That's my guide. From there, I measure the cut to be about 2/3 of the sphere's height. So I put a small line at the top, another at the bottom, and that gives me the span I need. Next, I connect all 3 marks with a smooth curve, creating an oval across the ball. And this oval isn't just decoration, it's the actual side cut of the sphere. It's super important because it locks in major features. The hairline, the nose, and even the overall weight and balance of the head. So pay close attention to this step. It really makes the head feel 3-dimensional. Now it's time for the horizontal midline. I start from the cut, right in the middle of that side cut we drew earlier. To place it, I look at the top of the ear in the reference, just by eye, and that's my guide. From there, I draw a slanted line, starting at the top of the ear, running down toward the eyebrow. Then I carry it across from the right brow to the left brow, and as you can see, the line isn't straight, it's tilted because the head itself is tilted in this pose. This slanted eye line is super important because it shows us exactly how the face is turned. Now let's add the vertical center line, the second main axis after the horizontal one. I start by estimating the space between the eyes and drop a small vertical mark right there. From that point, I extend the line upward, and notice it follows the curve of the sphere. Don't make it perfectly straight. It should wrap around the head, just like the skull itself. From the bottom, however, it runs straight down toward the chin. And in this pose, the lower part stays straight because all the facial features line up on that axis. This vertical line is crucial. It splits the face into right and left halves and keeps the symmetry balanced. Next comes the hairline. This line marks the start of the hair, and it begins right at the top of the side oval we cut earlier. It follows the curve of the ball, never straight, always wrapping around the head. From there, we drop the nose line. Notice the spacing. The distance from the brow to the nose line is about the same as from the brow to the hairline. And finally, the chin. We add a third space below, sometimes a little longer, depending on the face. This creates that golden ratio feel. But remember, every face has small variations. So these 3 divisions, hairline, brow, nose, and chin, give us the main framework for placing all the features. Now let's close off the skull. After drawing the upper part of the ball, I drop a slanted vertical line starting from the lower middle of the side oval, matching the tilt of the head. From that line, I connect it down to the chin with a smooth curve. That gives us the right side of the jaw. On the left side, I connect the outer edge of the circle down to the chin as well. And just like that, the whole outline of the face is closed. In this lower quarter of the side oval, that's where the ear comes out. I just dropped some simple outer lines here, no details yet, just the placement. From the top of the ear, I pull a guideline across the cheek, all the way down to the chin, and I do the same on the other side. These 2 lines are super useful. They give us the exact width of the mouth. Then I sketch a couple of simple necklines to close off the portrait shape from below. I also drop in a small circle for the nose tip, and 2 larger ovals for the eyes. Finally, I mark the mouth width with a light line. This is all still rough construction, just a roadmap before we dive into details. Stick with me to the end and we'll build every feature step by step. And if you want the full, in-depth breakdown of the Loomis method, from zero to mastering heads in any angle, I've created a complete Loomis course. You can grab it right now at a special price. Link on screen and in the description. Don't miss it. All right, friends, let's build the nose. We already placed a circle for the tip. Now I add a smaller circle on the right side to show the side of the nose that's visible in this angle. Then I draw the baseline of the nose, the most important line because it sets the overall shape. From there, I sketch the nostril with a short curve and connect it upward with a vertical stroke that links the nose to the eyebrow. On the left side, only a very small part of the nose is showing, so I keep it super simple. The nose basically comes down to 3 main strokes: the baseline, the nostril, and the vertical bridge up to the brow. Get those right, and the nose will look correct every time. Now, let's move down to the mouth. I connect the nose to the mouth area with a light sketch of the mustache. On the left side, I just mark a small part of it. That tells me where the mouth begins. I usually start with the center line, the line between the lips. This makes it much easier to keep the mouth balanced and symmetrical. After that, I add the upper lip with a smooth curve, then the lower lip underneath. Together, these 3 lines give me a clean, natural mouth shape. Notice here, DiCaprio's lips are quite small, so I keep them subtle. Then I go back to the mustache. I keep it simple, just a sketchy texture, not fully realistic. And under the lips, I add a few light strokes for the beard stubble. These small touches complete the mouth area and make it feel connected to the rest of the face. At this point, after finishing the nose and the mouth, I like to move upward, but first I always make sure the lower area is fully wrapped up. That way, the foundation feels solid before I climb to the top part of the face. So here, I refine the curves of the chin and the cheeks. In the Loomis method, we start with construction, but every character has different jaw shapes, different cheek thickness, so it's important to adjust the curves for the individual face. I darken the chin area of it because there's a clear shadow under there. I also refine the jawline and add some sketchy lines for the collar just to anchor the portrait. Then I throw in a few stubble strokes, light, sketchy, nothing too detailed, just enough to suggest texture. By the way, if you'd like to learn my personal sketching style in detail, the way I keep things loose but still structured, I explain it step by step in my Loomis course. You'll find the link right below this video at a special price for now. So, with the chin, cheeks, and even the jacket sketched in, the lower part is complete. Now let's head upward and start working on the eyebrows. To place the eyebrows correctly, I start with the line that connects the nose up to the brow. From there, I sketch the lower edge of the eyebrow and set the tilt. Then I move to the right brow, drawing short, tiny strokes, almost like scratches with the pencil. Always keep the hair growth light at the beginning, never thick. The brow should start darker at the inner side and fade lighter at the end. On the left brow, it's even darker because that side of the face is in shadow. And remember, the eyebrow shape has to rest exactly on the guideline we placed earlier. Don't forget, DiCaprio's eyebrows are thick and strong, so pay attention to that. It's a small detail, but it makes the likeness really work. All right, time for the hair. Honestly, I enjoy drawing men's hair more than women's. Why? Because it's usually shorter, easier, and doesn't take forever. I always start the hairline, the one we placed earlier at the top of the cut. That's where the hair grows from. DiCaprio's hairstyle is pretty iconic. It drops thinly down the center and then splits into strands that flow left and right. I focus on capturing the big curves of the hair first, not the tiny details. In my style, I don't go hyper-realistic. I prefer sketchy strokes that keep the drawing alive. If you'd like to master this sketch style, I go deep into it in my Loomis course. Links right below. Once the front line is set, I build the left side, then the top, keeping the flow of the strands. After that, I drop in a few inner strokes and some light shading to make it feel more natural. And that's the hair done. Quick, sketchy, and effective. Now let's move on to the most important feature of the portrait, the eyes. All right, friends, now let's move to the eyes. I start with a horizontal line just below the eyebrows. This line acts as the base for the upper eyelid, keeping both eyes aligned on the same level. Next, I draw the upper eyelid. Notice here, DiCaprio's eyes are quite narrow, so there isn't a big, separate crease above the eyelid. It almost blends into one single curve, so I keep it simple, with one smooth line. Then I move to the lower lid. This part decides how wide the eye will feel, so make sure the curve matches the reference. Too wide or too narrow can completely change the expression. Below the lower lid, there's a small fold. I mark it with a light line, then add soft shading. Darker closer to the lid, fading outward. This gives the eyes more realism. For the iris, I draw a circle that sits slightly to the right because he's looking that way in the reference. I shade it, but keep it light. Don't go too dark, since his eyes are colored. A dark iris would make it look wrong. Finally, I add subtle shadows around the eyes and a small white highlight dot inside the iris. That tiny highlight brings the whole portrait to life. And that's it. From the nose to the mouth to the eyes, we've built DiCaprio's portrait step by step. If you want to go beyond just copying and really understand the Loomis method so you can invent faces from imagination, I've created a complete Loomis course. You'll find the link below this video, and it's available now at a special price. Drop your thoughts in the comments, I read them all, and as always, happy drawing, my friends. I'll see you in the next video.